morning, Amber blooms on the hill, and today I am just picking a very small bucket of flowers for a lady who's picking up the flowers tomorrow, and she's making a wreath. So this is actually the second time she's ordered flowers like this from me. She makes a wreath because her daughter passed away, and she makes a wreath and casts it off into the sea. So I think that's really nice. So the way I'm working with it at the moment, there's not a lot going on. I've had 2 big orders this week via my website, which was nice. 2 big bouquets, which was strangely on the very same day. It was quite confusing actually. And then I have had a few people actually message me this week asking whether I'm doing more deliveries down to the post office. So getting near Christmas. Christmas is in what, 3 days or so. People are obviously giving flowers for Christmas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look around and just see what colours I've got. So basically the way my garden's worked out is that I've either got pinks, whites and purples and go that colour scheme, or I have oranges and white with a little bit of yellow, and then I also have this amaranth here, which is this darker burgundy. So just looking at what I've got the most of, because really at the moment it's getting a little bit lean. I'm thinking I'm going to probably have to go the orange burgundy route. So I'm going to have a bit of a trail around the garden. So come and have a look with me. So the Gadisha has been fabulous, but it's now starting to weather. Look at this. It's been hit pretty hard by the rain, and there's not an awful lot left. Probably enough to scrape up for this order. So we'll keep that in mind. There's also cosmos coming. So there's white, and over here I also have the apricotta. And well, this can go either way, either colour scheme, this burgundy one. And I do have a little bit of this lovely fluffy one now. The other thing I do have now is this achillea, which is getting taller now. So that's yellow. So that could go in a more orange scheme if I wanted. And the scabiosa, well, we've got a burgundy, we've got a lovely white one, but there's not a lot of buds happening, but not a lot in terms of ones that are open enough to pick. There's a lovely little red one, but that one's not ready yet either. I do have a fair bit of this amaranth, so we could go the burgundy. I do have a few Alstromera here. I have a handful of these, the Sheba David Austin roses. Well, there's that one, which is all right. There's a bud, which could be okay. And there is another bud up here. This is actually just a climbing rose on a little fence. This one's too far gone. There's a few. I've got plenty of feverfew, which this will be a good filler. This will definitely fill all the gaps, so that's a yes. Either colour scheme, it's fine. Now I still have some hydrangea, and they have shorter stems, so they're not so good for bouquets, maybe some of them, but they would be all right for a wreath. So I could go the purple direction and get, say, 3 of these. So in a wreath it would be nice to have an odd number of, well, these would be a focal flower if I went this way. I seem to have a few pink roses around, and I've got lavender and things like that as well, so I don't know which way I'm leaning yet, which colour scheme. I've got this lovely purple salvia too, and there's nothing wrong with this. This is just a real nice cottage garden sort of look if I used this. My Pierre de Ronsard is blooming, which is nice too. And I have some more scabiosa over in my garden, which this is the burgundy one, and there's some mauve. So I'm starting to think I can use this dark burgundy in a purple arrangement. So that can go either way. I'm starting to think I might go more purple, pinks and whites. I think decision might be made. Okay, made a choice. And I do have a lot of purple, pink and white in my actual front garden. So I don't know, it just ended up that way. Obviously I like purple without really knowing it, because when I bought plants for out here, I just obviously bought all in that colour scheme without really thinking about it. And one day I was kind of, yeah, everything's purple and pink, and which is bizarre because I had a purple school uniform and I didn't really like the purple school uniform, but I don't know, subconsciously. So we're going to attack the front garden a bit, and I'm not going to charge too much for this bucket of flowers. It's a smaller one, but I'm not really providing anything particularly spectacular. So I'll probably charge her maybe $35–40. I'll have a look and see what I end up with. Oh, there's some white roses there too. So yeah, I think we'll be able to rustle up enough. Okay, so the best way to do this is to cut the focal flowers first. So I'll find the roses first. And there's actually some more pink ones I've just spied over there. So that's good. So I think we'll definitely go pink and mauve as our main colours with this. So if she's only going fairly small, so really 3 roses would be enough. If I have 5, then I can do 5 for her. So it's best to cut and have 3. Odd numbers, as I was saying, odd numbers do look best. So if you're going to have vases on a table, 3 looks better than 2, 3 would look better than 4, or 5 would look better than 4. So it's that odd number that looks, it's sort of more balanced. If you had 4, it would look odd. You wouldn't know why, perhaps, but it just looks more balanced when it's an odd number. So in terms of numbers of flowers, that's what I'm going to work with as well. So I'll go roses first, and then fill a bucket of the supporting flowers that will match in with that colour scheme. And I will actually do a little bit of foliage, but I'll do that last, I think, and just sort of see what I need to fill it out, because yeah, she will need some foliage, because that will help cover any gaps. So I'm picking my Godetia again. It's been really good. If you haven't grown this before, I highly recommend it, just because it does fill that hungry gap, and it germinates well. It's pretty good because I've got quite a big patch. So cutting for this wreath, I'm not stressing too much about the length of the stems. So normally I'd go like really long and sort of go this long, and I'm worried about having enough length to make a bouquet, and generally the ends get trimmed off anyway when I've finished the bouquet up. But I can go for the stems that are a little bit shorter too, because she's using it in the wreath. So some of them I haven't been able to cut, flowers that are nice and not damaged, but the stems haven't been long enough, so I can just get whichever ones I like, really, which is good. So these are a nice little bit of fluff as well. That'll well, they're almost like a focal flower. Sometimes when I haven't got any roses, they've been working well as that. In this case, they're just going to be a secondary flower, and hopefully I can find enough roses. Right, I'm going on a rose hunt now. Doing a little bit backwards. Just got that Godetia opportunistically while I was next to it. Oh, there's some Ammi there. Do I use that? I don't know. Maybe not. I've got to think about too what would be sort of lasting in a wreath. So I sort of think maybe Cosmos, not so much. And Cosmos is a tricky one too, because it doesn't travel well. And if the flowers are already open, they don't last at all. So if you take them to a market, they are pathetic, really. So you've actually got to harvest Cosmos when it's in that cracking bud stage. So it's still got a bud, but you can see colour, and then it will open up on the day. So yes, so I don't think it's going to be the best flower for the job. And I'm not too sure whether she's going to be poking flowers into floral foam, or whether she's using some kind of a twiggery thing, like a twig based wreath. So I'm not too sure. So anyway, I've got a couple of roses here I might be able to get. There's a few of these beautiful mother's love. That one's quite open, but it might do. There is another one that's just sort of flopped a bit. Yeah, there's a couple of petals that are a bit bruised, but I can probably peel those off. And there's some more buds. This might be the one to go for. And there is another slightly different pink on a different bush. I've managed to get 4 roses So mother's love, mother's love. I have no idea what this one is. This is one that I either planted years and years ago when we first moved here. I don't think it was already here, but don't know what that one is. This is one that used to be in my carport, and then my son and I moved it. So a little bit darker, but there was some more buds of that, but they weren't very well placed in amongst other buds that weren't open. It was a bit odd, so I couldn't really cut that. So this will go okay. And some hydrangea. So the hydrangea I just cut these little ones, and they are less blue and more a real soft mauve, which I thought was better with the pink. And they're smaller, so for a small wreath, otherwise they'd just be too overpowering. I'm going to cut these Scabiosa now, and that actually might be enough, and then with some feverfew that could be enough, and it might not even need foliage. Okay, I'm actually quite happy with this. I've picked 5 of these darker Black Knight Scabiosa, and then there's 5 of these little ones. So once again, keeping with that odd number, and I'm actually quite pleased with the colours I've got, and every time it surprises me so much. Yes, the other day when I was getting those bigger bouquets that got ordered, I was worried I didn't have enough flowers, and I picked one lot of flowers and then thought surely that's it, and then I get this other order and suddenly I can find more flowers for another big bouquet. So garden always surprises me. There's always more than I think. I'm really happy with this, but I'm going to do a little bit of feverfew, and I actually think that it will be enough. I think the feverfew will fill it enough so that she actually won't need to put any foliage in there. So I can be quite generous with that. And some of these are shorter, these Scabiosa, but that's okay. They're just smaller stems, but she'll be cutting them right down anyway for her wreath, so it's no problem. The feverfew, I have it dotted all around my garden, okay? So I've got some patches of it, and then I've just opportunistically planted it all through the garden, so it's actually quite pretty. She won't need an awful lot, so each stem, like that's a stem here, but she can break off these individual bits at the top. So there's a little piece and another little piece, and she could just tuck those in. So I'll give her enough to play with, but she won't need masses of it, as each stem will provide lots of little stems for her to poke in around. So I might suggest to her tomorrow when she comes and picks it up to put the feverfew in last to fill all the gaps. She'll probably work that out anyway, but it doesn't hurt to suggest it. Yeah, and that'll be, I think, the end of it. Okay, there we go. So there's a fair bit of feverfew there for her to play with, to pudge up any gaps. And I think that's quite a pretty mix. Okay, so happy with that. I'm going to go and have some breakfast now. So I've cut, it's not really super early in the morning. If it was going to be a warm day, you'd want to get up, maybe before sunrise if you're really enthusiastic, but certainly get up before it starts to warm up, because the flowers will still have all their moisture in them. So it's the best time to pick, really. And I mean, you can pick late in the afternoon, although after a hot day, I don't really think that's advisable. Early in the morning is the best time. Today is quite cool. First month of summer. It's always the way. It is always cool in December. We're in for a wet Christmas day, which is great. But anyway, but cutting, I've got up and probably cut it about 9 o'clock, so it's not too bad. And the flowers are fine. So these need to be conditioned for about 24 hours before they should be used. It gives them a time to get a really good drink, because they'll sort of go into shock a little bit after you cut them. So let them have a real good drink before you start using them. So these will be ready for her. They'll have sat for 24 hours before she comes and picks them up. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you feel like subscribing, go and do that. Apparently that's what you need to say. And I will catch up with you another time. If I don't speak to you before Christmas, have a good Christmas. Bye.